Hey everybody, Brian Tro coming to you from Mossy Creek Fly Fishing with your fly fishing forecast. The date for today is Monday, February the 12th. So, as you can maybe see outside, it's raining. It rained most of the day yesterday, and they're calling for 3/4 to maybe an inch of rain this evening. So, this wet pattern continues, and this is really just awesome for our fishing and for the week ahead. So it looks like this is probably the last bit of weather. It's going to taper off by tomorrow morning. Cold air is going to come in. It'll be a little chilly the next day or two, but not extremely cold. And don't know when the next chance of rain or snow is, but probably next weekend sometime. So we're looking really good for the week ahead. Water temps have been rising as well. So we've had temps even in the low 40s up in the mountains up high, which is really good. Got some great reports from the brook trout streams this week. So let's start there. Most of the brook trout streams in the state are in really, really good shape. Water levels are awesome. The water temps, as I said, are coming up. Once you start to get into the 40s, the fish will swim a little bit further, work a little bit harder, just a little bit more enthusiastic to eat, okay? Still need to pay attention to fishing in your warmer hours of the day. It'll be in the 20s some nights this week, and getting out there at the crack of dawn is going to be a little bit slow, but primarily nymph fishing. But lots of folks this past week came in and said they were doing pretty well on the surface. So I always tell people you need to pick your battles. There are, on every stream and every creek, there are spots that lend themselves well to dry fly fishing. Okay, for example, if you've got a pool that's only 2 or 3 feet deep and steady flowing, and there's lots of fish in there. When the water's only 2 or 3 feet deep, the surface is always in play. Okay, it's not this far off place you're asking them to swim 5-10 feet up through heavy water to try and take a dry. So you got to kind of pick your battles a little bit. You'll start to kind of see this theme as you fish these streams, places where dry flies could especially a brook trout, because they're very, very opportunistic, and swimming 6-8 inches to grab something off the top is no big deal. So dry droppers this past weekend, I would say if you're fishing this week going into this next weekend and you're brook trout fishing, a dry dropper is the way to go. The way I do it is if I'm fishing a dry with a dropper underneath and I've been fishing for an hour or two and all I'm doing is catching them on the nymph. All right, nothing at all, no looks on the surface, and I want to have the ability to adjust my depth a little better. Then I'll go ahead and switch over to an indicator that will allow me to adjust up or adjust down as I go from pool to pool. If I've been fishing all morning long, and this typically happens more in the spring, and most of my bites are on the dry fly, off comes the nymph. So fishing 2 flies is a great way to have the fish tell you what they're most interested in. And of course, if you're getting love on your dry and your nymph, then keep them both on. You got to be smart about picking your setup and how they balance, okay? Especially with this heavier water and heavier flow. A lot of people will be fishing tungsten jig nymphs, and there's not a lot of dry flies that are really suitable for supporting those for this time of year. So the heavier your nymph, the bigger and the bushier your dry fly you have to put on just to be able to hold it up. And putting on a big like number 8 PMX for brook trout, yeah, they could eat it, but this time of year you're better off fishing with a little bit lighter setup, like a size 12 caddis or stimulator, and then drop a little bead-headed mayfly nymph, pheasant tail nymph, something like that off the back. So anyway, that's a little bit on dry droppers. It's exciting to start talking about dry flies a little bit as we make our way through February here. Hopefully we'll be talking about it a whole lot more in a month from now. And speaking of dry fly fishing, spring creeks, this is exactly the weather where you can catch a decent number of your fish on the surface this time of year. So overcast, it's like 51 degrees outside, overcast, drizzly, rainy, perfect day for blue-wing olives to hatch. Okay, so if you're fishing on Buffalo Creek or down on the South River, or fishing on Mossy Creek, Spring Run, a lot of these places where the water temperatures are already milder because they're spring influence, you get these conditions, and you could really have a good opportunity catching them, excuse me, on dry flies, especially blue-wing olives. Only downside to rain is it starts raining really, really hard, pounding the surface, disturbing the surface, and your fly gets drowned, and your fly just gets lost in the noise. So you don't want it pounding too hard, then you would need to switch back over to a nymph or streamer. Streamers are working great. The higher the flow, the dirtier the water, the more the bait fish gets disoriented, starts swimming out into spots that it shouldn't be in. So if we get really colored water, a lot of the forage food ends up in places it shouldn't, okay? And that's why those big browns on Mossy Creek love to come and forage when the water gets off color. So the delayed harvest streams are all fishing pretty well. Good reports coming off of places like North River delayed harvest, Back Creek delayed harvest. Remember, they'll continue to stock those. They don't always announce them all, but they'll continue to stock those usually until about April, and then they'll kind of let up on those. So most of the delayed harvests in the state have at least one, sometimes two more stockings from this point forward, all right, depending on how many fish they have and what they're getting to. The larger rivers and streams are probably going to get a pretty big bump out of this. It kind of depends on how hard it comes down. But we've been doing quite well for the musky and some winter bass fishing. River got perfect color last week, got green. Water temps went up several degrees. So all that stuff bodes really well. I don't see this bump here wrecking the river for too many days in a row. But certainly if you're going out tomorrow, the next day, you'll want to check the gauges or give the shop a call. But anyway, for some of you, we got a 3-day weekend coming up this weekend for President's Day. And the weather looks pretty nice, at least for the next 5 days, to get out there and really enjoy some midwinter fishing here. So that's pretty much it for now. We're restocking the store, redoing everything here in the fly shop. Things have been really busy. Had a good fly fishing show this weekend, but tine stuff's pouring in. All the new product from Simms is coming in. New Helios rods from Orvis are coming in. So a lot of cool stuff to see here. Great excuse to stop by the shop. Come on up if you're coming from Richmond or Northern Virginia. Stop by the store, say hi to us, check out some cool new stuff, and then we'll put you out on some really good water. Some places are only 15, 20 minutes from right here in the store. So make a day of it and come on up, do a little fishing, and check out some new product. So, all right, I think that's probably it for this week. Get out there and enjoy the beautiful weather we're going to have for the next 5 days and the perfect water flows. All right, see you all next week.